Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to our Sunday service for October 9th, 2016.
Let's just prepare our heart toward heaven. Let's sing a song, a holy song, 103, If I Were Free. 103.
If I were free to speak my mind, I'd tell a tale to all mankind of how the flowers do bloom and fade, of how we fall, how we came. This weary world has had its fill of words of war on every hill. The time has come for peaceful days, for peaceful men and peaceful ways, when all mankind has ceased to fight. I'll raise my head in thanks each night for this great love and all its deeds, for golden days and peaceful dreams. If I were free to speak my mind, I'd tell a tale to all mankind of how the flowers do bloom and fade, of how we fall and how we gain. If I were free to speak my mind, I'd tell a tale to all mankind of how the flowers do bloom and fade, of how we fall and how we gain.
Next song is the back of the page, 104, If Life Were Gracious Enough. 104, If Life Were Gracious Enough.
If life were gracious enough to grant my way, I would reach to the ends of the earth to give glory every day, as used to find His heart. just enough to fulfill my dream. We will live on the way of the world, and our love will blossom simply. We will free each heart from the pain. At the anguish of the past, through the preciousness of our love, true joy will reign at last. Through the preciousness of our love, true joy will reign at last.
Next song is 122, Love. 122, Love.
And if you know how to make this into a round, you can sing it as a round if you like. Okay. Love, 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 love. Love is the power to draw together. Love your neighbor as your brother. Love, 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 love. Joy, 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 joy. Joy is the purpose of our lives. Let us dance before our Father. Joy, 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 joy. Peace, 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 peace. Peace is the home of all mankind. Let us walk among our brothers. Let us wish peace be our brothers. Love, 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 love. Love is the power to draw together. Love your neighbor as your brother. Love your neighbor as your brother. Joy, 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 joy. Joy is the purpose of our lives. Let us dance before our Father. Joy, joy, joy for our Father. Peace, 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 peace. Peace is the home of all mankind. Let us walk among our brothers. Let us wish peace be our brothers. Peace, 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 peace. Peace, 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 peace. Nice. All right.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Let us stand about to the Heavenly Parent and the True Parent. Join me in prayer. Heavenly Parent, God, True Parent, good morning. Today is October 9th, 2016, Sunday morning. Outside is little raining and chilly, and we can see that all colorful leaves is falling down, starting the feel the changing the air, and also the tree, the color is changing and going to the bright color. Every parent, always I feel that the autumn time, your harvest coming, the old food was very colorful and very beautiful. And flower is before coldness, chillness. The purple color flower, yellow color flower, and all many kind of flowers blossom. I feel that the most plenty of the year love is ending. The fruit was taken by the people and ready to storage in the place, and our feeling also to ready to the winter, Heavenly Parents. To think deeply that our life, what is most important things is love, Heavenly Parents. Our original mind and heart is sick. Original love, original eternal love. We don't want to perish our eternal love for you and for each other. This is the original true love we are seeking, Heavenly Parents. Yet, we are not reaching the true love around us. Look at this world. Some country was starving to death, and some country people is a war and bleeding to death, and all disaster in this world. We are really sorry, Heavenly Parents. We couldn't achieve peace yet. All saints and sages preached us to love each other. Make your kingdom in this earth and the heaven. But yet peace was not achieved yet in this world. We have to stop to hating each other and dislike each other. We are all children of you, Heavenly Parents. We really repent that our shortcoming and misunderstanding make disagree to each other and hating each other, killing each other. Deep sorrow of you, we want to liberate your heart through the loving. Start loving and start helping each other to grow the preciously, to respect and receive other people's viewpoint. Through that, we can all know, our original heart know. We have to, because of the misunderstanding, make mistake and make disaster in this world. Please forgive us. Please guide us to think deeply, and we can see the nature of the beauty coming from you, Heavenly Parents. The man and woman, if we can love each other too preciously, and can make family a beautiful way. If so, that this world will change. This neighbor will change, the community will change, and this world will start changing. Heavenly Parents, we need peace. We need love. Heavenly Parents, please guide us to achieve peace around us through original true love. Please guide this week. We can prosper your love to the other and serve each other, love each other, forgive each other, embrace each other. Through that, we can create beautiful world. Please bless this time. We receiving your words through the word. We repent our mistake, and we can determine again to be beautiful, loving person to be, and beautiful, loving community will be, and the world to be. Heavenly Parents, please guide us. Thank you very much. We report sincerely in the name of Ramanga Tamiko Montanaro, Central Blessed Family. Amen. Thank you. Please seated. Welcome our pastor, Montanaro.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
So this has been a challenging week for me. Some of you recognize that our videos have been offline for about a week. I'm not at liberty to talk about the details of it, but we are facing the difficulty of the fact that our words are affecting certain people certain ways, and we have to deal with the fallout from that right now, the repercussions from that. So I want to talk about, in general terms, the ideas of righteousness and martyrdom and true peace, sort of what Oma was praying about in her prayer. We're not going to get a peaceful world until we're peaceful people. And we're not going to be peaceful people as long as there is an unconscious desire for something that is wrong. If we want something inside of ourselves that's wrong, if we're not at peace with ourselves and God, well, there's not going to be any peace in the world. Let me say that again. That's very important. If I'm not at peace with God, I cannot ever be at peace with any person around me. If I'm at peace with God, if I'm truly righteous, then my heart is at peace, and I can love every person I meet. Now, that doesn't mean there's going to be peace in the world, but at least I'm not causing conflict. I'm giving love. I'm creating goodness around me. And even though other people might oppose me, come against me, at least I'm giving an example of peace. Jesus did this. Father did this. All the saints in the world did this, where they lived a life of peace. Gandhi did this. Martin Luther King did this. He tried anyway. I mean, all these men, they were saints, but they did have their own sin and fallen nature. And if you look at their own writings, after Martin Luther King and what he spoke about, and Gandhi, they're the first ones to admit that they're not perfect. So I'm not saying that they're perfect. But I am saying that the reasons that they died was because they continued to fight for what they believed in, even when it wasn't popular, and even when others came against them, but they never responded with violence. They always responded with love. And as a result, the people had to face themselves and say, this person's a peaceful person, a loving person, but I don't agree with him. I don't like him. I don't like what he's doing. I don't like what he stands for. And then they're forced to look at themselves. Because if they're acting in a violent way, then they have to judge themselves. They have to say, maybe my values are not as good as his values. So let's put up the title of our sermon. Oh, we changed the date. Oma couldn't reach it. Okay. All right. So today is October 9th. And we're going to call our sermon today Righteousness, Martyrdom, and True Peace. So, when we look at Gandhi in India, he was a lawyer. He was born in South Africa, and he grew up in South Africa. And in South Africa at the time, there was a system, a political system, apartheid, where the white population had privileges and rights that the black and colored population didn't have. He was from India, so he was considered colored. And he had to carry a passport with him, always, like a second-class citizen. The white people did not have to have that passport. He had to have that. And he, historically, a very famous moment, he ripped up his passport in front of the police and burned it. or something like this. It was like either a passport or his requirement to go to the military. He ripped it up in front of the police and burned it. And of course he was arrested and he began his struggle. But he was an educated man. He was very educated. He was a lawyer. He understood England. He'd been to England. He understood English thinking. And the English were very powerful in South Africa, also the Dutch. And then he went back to India and he began fighting against the English Raj, the British Raj. The Raj meant the British rule of India. And he began to, he became like a yogi. He put on, the yogi kind of white cloth around his body. And he just wore simple clothing, just a cotton thing. He stopped wearing his suits and things like this. And he began, and he was like a holy man. And he walked around India, and he organized people who were working into strikes and things. And he was very much a pain in the neck to the English. And the English have imprisoned him many times, and many things they did to him. But finally, because he never responded with violence, and he was intelligent, articulate, and he spoke right to the conscience of the British people who were Christian. And he said, are you acting in a Christian way? The way you're acting is not the same as what you talk about. You talk about Christianity, but you're not acting Christian. And he became kind of famous in England. And gradually, public opinion came supporting him, and there was conflict in England about this man, Gandhi. And because of Gandhi especially, England finally withdrew, for many other reasons, but England left India and let it have its independence. Gandhi was killed, assassinated though, in 1948 by not a Muslim. He had been fighting after the English left. There was conflict between Muslims and the Sikh population, which is another religion, and the Hindus and the Buddhists and different religions that were still living in India. And there was conflict. Later on, they split, and India was huge. And India became Pakistan, and India, and Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka, and Nepal, and Burma, and all these other countries kind of split up from India. And each with its own religion. So that's how they kind of tried to solve the problem. Gandhi was working, though, to bring unity and keep one nation and have everyone unite. But many people hated each other, and they didn't like Gandhi. And so the person who killed Gandhi was a Hindu, like Gandhi. He was a Hindu extremist. And he wanted India to have no Muslims and no other religions. And so he killed Gandhi. And, there's a beautiful scene. You can watch the movie. Ben Kingsley plays Gandhi. And it's it won the Academy Award for Best Film. There's a beautiful scene where he's fasting. He did fasting for 21 days and sometimes longer, fasting for peace. He said, I'm not going to eat unless there's peace, unless there was one battle that was going on and people were killing each other. And he started to fast. He said, I'm not going to eat. Even if I die, I'm not going to eat until you stop fighting. And he's lying in his bed at home. And a Muslim man breaks into the room and screaming at him and says, stop fasting, stop fasting. I don't want your death on my hands as well. And Gandhi asked him, what do you mean? And he said, he burst into tears and he said, I killed a Muslim boy. I killed a man. And I killed a Muslim, he said. And he said, I know I'm going to go to hell, but I don't want your death on my head as well. So stop fasting. And Gandhi said, my son, he said, I know a way out of hell. He said, and the man was like on his knees, and he said, what is it? And he said, the man was crying. He said, they killed my son. That's why he got so angry. That's why he killed the Muslim. They killed my son. My son was killed. He said, I know a way out of hell. He said, go find a Muslim boy whose parents have been killed and raise him as your own son. And one more thing he said, raise him as a Muslim. So Gandhi was brilliant. He understood how to overcome hatred. So he said, raise a little Muslim boy as a Muslim in your home. And then you will heal what you did wrong. So there are other examples. We're going to read together. Would you pass out Father's autobiography, please? We're going to read together Father's work in the Middle East. Father met with Yasser Arafat about 12 different times. He also met with the members of the Israeli Knesset, the Israeli governing body, and he tried to work for world peace in the Middle East. The Middle East is one of the major hotspots, the major dangerous zones in the world. The other one is North and South Korea. Both of these areas are areas where it's very possible that a world war could break out or some serious war could break out. And as a result, Father's focused on those two areas to bring peace. So let's read together just as one excerpt of the chapter. We're not going to read the whole chapter. If you want to at home, you can read it together. Would you join me? And you can read in the Korean. So we're going to be on page 238. Where Father's in the middle of the page. It says, I first set foot in Jerusalem in 1965. So 내가, yeah. Okay, so we're going to read just this. We're going to read from that to the end of the chapter, which is about 2 pages. So please enjoy, everyone. We're in Father's autobiography. I'll give you the link on page 238, where it begins, I first set foot in Jerusalem. The chapter's title, if your pagination is different, is The Power of Religion to Turn People to Goodness. Okay, let's read together.
내가 처음 예루살렘에 발을 디딘 것은 1965년이었습니다. 당시는 6.1 전쟁이 일어나기 전이라 예루살렘이 아직 요르단의 영토일 때였습니다. 나는 예수가 빌라도의 재판정에 끌려가기 전에 피눈물을 흘리며 기도를 올렸던 감람산을 찾았습니다. 그곳에는 이미 감람교회가 세워져 있었습니다. 나는 예수가 기도하는 모습을 지켜보았을 2000년 된 감람나무를 어루만졌습니다. 그리고 그 나무에 유대교와 기독교, 이슬람교를 의미하는 세 개의 못을 박으며 그들이 하나 되는 날을 위한 기도를 올렸습니다. 유대교와 기독교, 이슬람교가 하나 되지 않는다면 세계 평화는 결코 도모할 수 없습니다. 감람나무에 박힌 세 개의 못은 아직도 남아있고 평화 세계는 여전히 요원합니다.
I first set foot in Jerusalem in 1965. This was before the Six-Day War, and Jerusalem was still under Jordan's territorial control. I went to the Mount of Olives, where Jesus shed tears of blood in prayer just prior to being taken to the court of Pontius Pilate. I put my hand on a 2,000-year-old olive tree that could have witnessed Jesus' prayer that night. I drove 3 nails in that tree, one for Judaism, one for Christianity, and one for Islam. I prayed for the day when these 3 families of faith would become one. World peace cannot come unless Judaism, Christianity, and Islam embrace as one. Those 3 nails are still there.
세상은 유대교와 이슬람교, 기독교로 나뉘어 첨예하게 대립하고 있지만 실상 뿌리는 하나입니다. 문제는 예수를 둘러싼 해석입니다. 2003년 5월 19일 우리는 예수님을 십자가에서 내려드렸습니다. 그리고 가룟 유다가 예수님을 팔아넘기고 받은 은 30냥으로 샀다는 피밭 땅에 예수님이 달리셨던 십자가를 묻었습니다. 그리고 그해 12월 23일 종교와 교파를 초월해서 전 세계에서 모인 3천여 명의 평화대사와 이스라엘과 팔레스타인 사람들 1만 7천여 명이 예루살렘의 독립권원에 모여 예수님의 머리에서 가시관을 벗기고 평화의 왕관을 씌워드렸습니다. 그리고 그곳에 모인 2만여 명이 함께 종교와 종파를 떠나 인류의 평화를 위한 행진을 벌였습니다. 그날 아라파트는 저녁 8시에 맞춰 팔레스타인의 모든 집 앞에 불을 밝히게 함으로써 우리의 평화 대행진에 동참했습니다. 전 세계 인터넷으로 생중계된 그날의 행진을 통해 예수님은 평화의 왕으로 복권되셨으며 서로 반목하던 기독교와 유대교, 이슬람교가 화해하는 계기가 마련되었습니다.
Judaism, Islam, and Christianity are sharply divided against each other in today's world, but they share a common root. The issue that keeps them divided is their understanding of Jesus. To address this problem, on May 19, 2003, I asked that Christians de-emphasize the cross in relations among the Abrahamic faiths. Thus, we enacted a ceremony of taking down the cross. We brought a cross from America, a predominantly Christian culture, and buried it in the field of blood in Israel. This is the field that was bought with the 30 pieces of silver that Judas Iscariot received for the betrayal of Jesus that ended in Jesus' crucifixion. Later that year, on December 23rd, some 3,000 ambassadors for peace from all religions and from around the world joined with 17,000 Israelis and Palestinians in Jerusalem's Independence Park to symbolically remove the crown of thorns from the head of Jesus and replace it with a crown of peace. They then marched for peace through Jerusalem. Local authorities granted permissions and protected our efforts, and Palestinian and Israeli families supported our march for peace by placing a light in front of their homes. Through that march, which was broadcast live via the internet to the entire world, I proclaimed that Jesus had his authority as King of Peace restored to him. After centuries of misunderstanding and division, an opportunity was created for Christianity, Judaism, and Islam to reconcile with one another.
예루살렘에는 이슬람의 메카인 사우디아라비아의 메디나 다음으로 가장 큰 이슬람 사원인 아락사 모스크가 있습니다. 그곳은 마호메트가 승천했다고 하는 장소로 이슬람 교도가 아니면 절대로 들어갈 수 없는 곳이지만 우리를 위해서만은 그 문을 활짝 열어주었습니다. 그들은 평화 대행진을 마친 기독교인들과 유대교 지도자들을 사원 깊숙한 곳까지 안내했습니다. 이슬람 역시 평화를 사랑하는 종교입니다. 우리는 편견과 아집으로 굳게 닫혔던 금기의 문을 열고 이슬람을 소통의 세계로 이끌어내는 일을 한 셈입니다.
The Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is the third holiest mosque in Islam after those in Mecca and Medina, is located in Jerusalem. It is the spot from which the Prophet Muhammad is said to have ascended to heaven. Ours was the only mixed religious group welcomed to all parts of this house of worship. The mosque leaders guided the Christian and Jewish leaders who had participated in the peace march to the sacred spaces of the mosque. We were able to open a door that had been closed tightly and prepared the way for many Muslim leaders to communicate at a new level with their Christian and Jewish brothers and sisters.
물론 인간은 평화를 좋아하지만 한편으로는 싸움을 좋아하기도 합니다. 수날이 순한 소에게 싸움을 붙이고 닭들이 벼슬을 곤두세우고 날카로운 부리로 연한 살점이 떨어져 나가도록 물어뜯고 싸우는 것을 보고 즐기는 것이 인간입니다. 그러면서 아이들에게는 싸우지 말고 사이좋게 놀거라 라고 말합니다. 결국 전쟁을 일으키는 근본 원인은 종교나 인종이 아닌 사람의 심성입니다. 모든 것이 사람의 문제입니다. 현대인들은 모든 분쟁의 원인을 과학이나 경제 탓으로 돌리기를 좋아하지만 정작 근본적인 문제는 인간 자체에 있습니다.
Human beings like peace, but they also enjoy conflict. People will take the most gentle of animals and make them fight. They will have roosters fight and peck each other with their sharp beaks until pieces of soft flesh begin to fall away. Then, these same people will turn around and tell their own children, "Don't fight with your friends, play nice." The fundamental reason that wars occur is not religion or race. It is connected to what lies deep inside human beings. People like to attribute the causes of armed conflicts to such things as science or the economy, but the actual fundamental problem lies within human beings, ourselves.
인간을 선하게 만드는 것, 싸움을 좋아하는 인간의 악한 본성을 없애주는 것이 바로 종교입니다. 세계의 모든 종교를 돌아보십시오. 다들 평화로운 세계를 이상으로 합니다. 모두 하늘나라를 바라고 유토피아를 꿈꾸며 극락세계를 염원합니다. 부르는 이름은 서로 다르지만 인간이 꿈꾸고 바라는 세계는 모두 같습니다. 이 세상에 수많은 종교가 있고 그보다 몇 배나 많은 종파가 있지만 그들이 바라는 것은 하나입니다. 그들이 지향하는 목적지는 천국이며 평화의 세계입니다. 인종과 종교로 갈기갈기 찢긴 마음을 깔끔히 치유하는 따뜻한 사랑의 나라입니다.
Religion's role is to turn human beings toward goodness and eliminate their evil nature that finds enjoyment in fighting. Examine the major religions of the world. They all hold a peaceful world as their ideal. They all want to see a kingdom of heaven, utopia, or paradise. Religions have different names for this ideal, but they all seek such a world. There are numerous religions in the world, and virtually everyone is divided into countless factions and denominations. But the essential hope for all is the same. They want the kingdom of heaven and a world of peace. The human heart has been torn to shreds by the violence and enmity at our core. The kingdom of love will heal it. Thank you. Okay, let's give Father a hand. As I talked about last week, I was there at that march in Jerusalem. And I was the one who was blowing the horn at the top of the Alaska Mosque, which could have caused an international incident, but it didn't, thank goodness. And I was there at the top of the Mount of Olives, and I was walked with the whole 3,000 people marching through Jerusalem. It was an amazing experience. One of the stories that was told, and I met the man who told the story, it was a beautiful story, very moving. Sort of like what Gandhi said to that man that had killed a Muslim. He said, raise a Muslim boy as your own. Some boy who's lost his parents, an orphan. Raise him as your own, but raise him as a Muslim. This one Israeli man, his daughter had been killed by a suicide bomber. You know what suicide bombers are? They strap bombs to their body and they walk into a crowded area and they blow themselves up. And it's virtually impossible to stop them because they are not afraid to die. So they can get through the police, you know, and everything like this because they're not trying to escape afterwards. They're willing to kill themselves to kill other people. And his daughter was killed by a suicide bomber. She was in the vicinity, the bomb went off, and she was taken to the hospital, and basically she died in the hospital. He chose to give her organs to a Muslim boy who needed a transplant to save his life. He used his daughter's body to save a Muslim boy's body. And his story went viral in Israel at the time. Everyone heard about him. And his one act did more to stop violence than anything else the politicians could have done. And he came to our conference and spoke. A really beautiful man. Of course he missed his daughter and he longed that this could not have happened. But he chose to use her life as an offering for peace. Sometimes, to change people's thinking, you have to lose something. Jesus died because he wouldn't deny his position as the Messiah. Pontius Pilate said, they're accusing you of being king of the Jews. Do you have anything to say for yourself? And he said, you say that I am. You say I'm king of the Jews. I didn't say it. You say it. But he didn't deny it. He didn't defend himself. Gandhi knew that he might die for what he was doing. And he wasn't afraid. He was willing to die to try to bring peace. Martin Luther King also knew that he might die. In his famous speech on the mountaintop, he said, I have a dream, right? I have a dream that one day black boys and little white boys will walk hand in hand, right? He said, I can see that place on the mountaintop. I may not get there with you, he said. I may not get there with you. And all the people around King. And I met James Bevel, who was one of the key organizers of the Montgomery March. And he was an amazing man, told us many of the deep, hidden things about the civil rights movement of the 1960s. He was there when King was shot in Memphis at the hotel. He was downstairs looking up at the balcony when King was shot at the balcony. He told us about that day. There's many details, so I won't talk about that right now. But Bevel said King knew that he would probably be killed. He was speaking about it very, very openly in the last few weeks of his life. But he continued to speak publicly and do speeches. So sometimes when we stand up for what we really believe, we have to lose something that is precious. I'm going to quote from the Bible now. In John chapter 21, verse 18. This is after Jesus' resurrection. And he's speaking to Simon Peter, his rock, the rock upon whom I will build my church, right? And he told him to feed my sheep, he said. Do you want to join me and read in Korean? 하나만 여기부터 내가부터 진리로 집 시발로 여기 내가 너 여기.
From here. 내가 진실로 진실로 내게 이르노니 젊어서는 내가 스스로 띠뛰고 원하는 곳으로 다녔거니와 늙어서는 내 팔을 벌리리니 남이 내게 띠뛰고 원치 아니하는 곳으로 데려가리라.
And Jesus says to Simon, he says, most assuredly I say to you, when you were younger, you girded yourself. That means to gird is to tie a cloth around your body. Tie yourself up to get it to go out. In those days they took a long cloth and they would tie up, to around their body to go out. That's to gird your body. He said, you girded yourself and walked where you wished. But when you are old, you will stretch out your hands and another will gird you and carry you where you do not wish. Thus he spoke, signifying by what means, by what death he would glorify God. So he told Peter, he kind of warned him, he said, when you were younger you could tie yourself up and go out and do what you wanted and go where you wished. But when you are old, you will stretch out your arms and another person will gird you, will tie you up and take you where you do not wish to go. And Peter was crucified upside down. They were going to crucify him right side up. And he said, I am not worthy to be crucified in the same manner as my Lord. So they crucified him upside down. And that's how he died. So sometimes when you really stand for something you believe in, you face, the problem is this. All of us, all mankind, we all have sin. We have sin. Does everyone want to recognize their sin though? You think everybody says, I'm a sinner?
No.
Does everybody say, I'm a sinner? I need to repent?
No.
If everyone said and everyone recognized that they had sin and repented for their sin and lived their life shedding tears, trying to become a better person, do you think the world would have many problems? No. People would always blame themselves, try to find what am I doing to cause this problem. But people are arrogant. All of us have arrogance. But many leaders and many powerful people are very powerful. They have arrogance. They think that they are righteous. They think they're righteous. Pilate sat there judging Jesus. The Jewish people said, crucify him, crucify him. They judged Jesus. The white people in the South, they hated Martin Luther King, but they were all racist. The English were so proud of their power in India, but they were the losers in that. They were not the right people, the righteous people. Gandhi was righteous in that case. He was more close to God, right? There's always conflicts between good and evil. Right now in America, we're having this conflict. Black Lives Matter. And Colin Kaepernick, who's the quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, is refusing to stand up and salute the flag when they're singing the national anthem. The National Football League is very patriotic, and before every game they play the national anthem, and all the players stand up and watch the flag, and maybe they put their hand over their heart or they stand at attention. But he has started a movement now, and many players now are turning away from the flag and going down on one knee and not respecting the flag, and it's causing a lot of conflict because, for one thing, he could be fired for that. He has freedom of speech, but he doesn't have the right to do what he wants at a football game wearing the uniform of his team. In his own private life, he has the right to not salute the flag or to even speak out about it. But on the field, wearing the uniform of his team, he's not given that freedom. The team should stand as one, and the team has the right actually to fire him. They can fire him, but they're not. They're letting him continue to do this. And there's a lot of conflict right now, and people are trying to make this into a big issue. And there's riots, and people are getting fighting and killing because some black men and women have been killed by police. And they're saying that there's racism still in the police force, and there's conflict between the police and the black culture in our society. But that is not the root of the problem. That is not the root of the problem. Everyone has sin. Black people have sin. White people have sin. The police have sin. And if we don't repent for our sin and clean it up, then we are going to get into, we think we're better than, I'm right, you're wrong, right? And we fight. That's what fights all are about. I'm right, you're wrong. No, I'm right, you're wrong. And then they fight. How about if both people say, I'm wrong? Let's try to make this work. Let's overcome. But many people, even if you're truly righteous like Gandhi or Jesus or King, and you're standing for something that's good, and you're righteous, there will be people who refuse to listen to you and want to get rid of you because you're making them uncomfortable. You will make people uncomfortable if you speak the truth. You will make people uncomfortable. And there will be conflict. And sometimes they will try to throw you in jail or imprison you or take away your freedom. And maybe in extreme cases even try to kill you. Father was thrown in jail 6 times in his life. He was tortured many times in his life. His skin was torn off. His teeth were all knocked out. He didn't have any teeth. All his teeth were reconstructed afterwards. His teeth were all knocked out by bats. His stomach was broken. All his organs were broken. He was vomiting blood. Blood was coming out in his urine and his stool. He was left for dead. He was thrown in prison for 2 years and 8 months. But he never changed his mind. And he never stopped teaching what he wanted to teach. So we have to have that kind of courage that even if we lose everything, that we don't quit. And true peace comes when we finally accept responsibility for my own sin. When everyone does. So, I pray anyway that all of you and at home, everyone, can really pray deeply. I don't want you to get caught up in the idea of guilt, to feel guilty. You know, in the Catholic Church, we have a saying also in the Catholic Church of mea culpa, and then hitting yourself, you know, with whip on your back, mea culpa. Martin Luther, the famous reformer, Protestant reformer, was famous before he started the Protestant Reformation. He was so consumed by a sense of his own sin, and he was trying to get rid of his sin, that he was beating himself up. He was fasting and praying and hitting his body and doing cold water conditions and all kinds of conditions to try to beat his body. Because he could feel, you know, perhaps sexual desire and other kinds of physical desires forcing him to be not a good person. And he was trying to stop it. And finally he realized that he couldn't. And he just surrendered to God and he said, I don't know how it is, but you said I'm saved because I believe in Jesus, so I have faith in that. So he came up with the idea of I'm saved by my faith in God, by my faith in Jesus. Only that. Not by my works, not by what I can do, not by my own beating myself up. So I don't want you to get into this whole thing of beating yourself up. But please, spend some time every day in prayer and reflect about every person in your life. Reflect about your brothers and your sisters. Reflect about your friends. Reflect about your nation. Reflect about your work. Reflect about your school. Think about everything. And send love out to the people in your life. Even the people you're having conflict with. Send love to them. Send love to your brothers. Send love to your sisters. Send love to your family. Send love to your enemies. And make sure your heart is right. And then you can face that person with love. And you can be a righteous person. Still, you have to speak the truth. And maybe you will get martyred. You might get punished for what you stand for. But don't quit. I'm thinking of Hyungjinim. And he was forced by the church to take down this mark. The church said it doesn't belong to him. It belongs only to the family federation. So he was forced to take down the church mark. And he covered it with a cloth with a drop of blood on it, saying, you know, this is like martyrdom. We're being forced like this. Sometimes we have to go through Gethsemane. We have to go through Gethsemane. The time when Jesus prayed right before his death. So please be courageous and pray deeply and be loving. Okay? And we'll bring about a world of true peace. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, I want to thank you so much for the examples of great men and women who have gone before us, who have lived lives of righteousness and even died for their faith. People like Jesus and Martin Luther King and Gandhi. People like Mother Teresa and Joan of Arc. People who have stood up for what they believed in and died sometimes for what they believed in without quitting. People like that man in Israel who allowed his daughter's organs to be used to save the life of a Muslim child. We hope that we can, in our lives, set such a beautiful example of love and faith. Sometimes those examples are the only thing that works to change people's hearts. As the world slowly goes toward peace, we need thousands of examples like this, even to the point of martyrdom, to the point where we lose our lives or our livelihoods or our way of life for the sake of peace, for the sake of love, for the sake of truth. Please bless this day. Be with Hyungjinim and Yenanim. Please be with each brother and sister. Please be with each brother and sister out there who's listening, that they can have the courage to look inside themselves and find the truth about their own sin and to repent and to stand up and be a loving person in their lives. Thank you so much. We offer this day to you, and I report all these things in the name of Raman and Taniko Montanaro, blessed central family. Aju. Amen. Thank you.